and one of them's dug into the back of my heel, our first experience of the nice little spiky things, and boy did it hurt.
Out to the lighthouse here, and the scenery is just stunning.
We are just coming into the Yorke Peninsula.
First catch. Well done, mate. And we're meeting the neighbours. That's really cool. We're cruising along on the Yorke Peninsula, and it is a big road. We've been driving for quite some time.
We're just coming into the Ennis National Park. We're staying at the Stenhouse Bay Campground for the next few days. Just down this way.
Water.
Oh, look at that water as we come around the corner. Look at that, we're beautiful.
There's a pier.
And I reckon we'll pretty much have it to ourselves as well.
So our first stop on the Yorke Peninsula was to head all the way down to the Ennis National Park.
It was beautiful. It was a stunning area. Beautiful white waters contrasted by the
Brilliant.
sorry, not white waters, blue waters.
Blue waters. It was stunning. It really was. And as we arrived, we basically had the park to ourselves.
Yep.
And boy, was the ground hard. It turned out that it was actually an old gypsum mine site with a lot of the old mining stuff up on the hill there. So it was very hard, but we got to work setting up camp to get ready for a few days of adventure. We're just setting up. It is rock solid ground. Luckily we had our impact drill driver, and we used coach bolts, which we've shown in another video, to set up and manage our awning. If you haven't seen that before, go to our website and you can see how we set up for camp. And we've just got our setup here, awnings up. There's a bit of wind about, but we're pretty sheltered here on this side of the van, which is just perfect. And there is no one else around here. And you can see there's another campsite there, bit of a car park, and here's the long drop toilet.
Harry, what's over there?
A whole lot of emus under a tree behind the toilet.
Oh, let's go see if we can spot them. We're visiting the emu's natural habitat. I'm not sure if you can see them, just there under the tree, enjoying the shade. You can see our caravan just through the bushes there at the Stenhouse Bay Campground. We have been visited by so many emus. The beach that you can see on the right hand side in the background there is called Emu Beach, and there's literally been emus wandering past our campsite, just hanging out under the trees. It's a pretty awesome place to see these lovely animals. If you've watched our other videos, you'll know that we like to head to the info centre when we arrive at a new destination. There's an info centre open every day at Ennis, and it's a really good one to visit. We're here at the Ennis National Park Information Centre. We're camping here for a few days at the Stenhouse Bay Campground, and we've just come to find out some information about the area, find out some points of interest that we should go and have a look at. I think the boys are keen to ask some questions about fishing, and also some questions about something interesting that we've seen on the ground around the park. We think it might be, they're calling it emu spew. The boys have been wondering what these blobs are. There's one here, another one here, another one here. They're literally all over the place. We were thinking maybe that they're emu vomit or maybe emu poo or something due to all of the emus that are around. So hopefully we can find out what this stuff is.
So in actual fact, this was not one of the bigger information centres we'd ever seen. It was quite small. However, it did have one thing going for it, and that is the world's most eager and informative park ranger. So not only did she help us understand what the emu scats were that we saw around, she wanted to take us out to show us the berries, the bush tucker that they're eating, and show us that we can eat them too. Yep. So we went and checked that out with her. You go first.
Every night when I take down the flags, I work at Pogo over there, and I normally actually grab a handful.
Sorry to go into your snack pot.
Yeah, this one is. Oh wow. They're just getting to the end now.
So that's as big as they sort of get?
Yep, so they're only tiny. They're normally at the start of the season, they're a little bit bigger. But if you squish them...
they're a little juicy.
And see, then they're the white little balls that you see in their poo.
Okay, so they eat the outside.
Yeah, so you can pick off the white ones. The green ones will give you a bellyache.
Okay.
You found one, Harry?
Yeah, give it a go.
This one's going to get cut back soon anyway, so I'll give you some of the end of it so you can actually go on.
Awesome, thank you.
How was it, Harry?
Sour sort of.
Take that one with you, so look for that leaf. Yeah.
There you go.
Grape seed.
It is. It's salty grapes, isn't it?
So you can see the green ones and the white ones.
Are they good?
Have a go.
Great.
Yeah, it's like a not ripe grape.
Yep.
So there's a bit of bush tucker.
After heading into the info centre, we were armed with all of the knowledge for a great day out around the park. We went and checked out the ghost town in Ennis. There's a lake there, and there's stacks to look at. It was a really great day out. Going for a drive through the Ennis National Park. It's really well maintained and very well signposted. There's various lighthouses that you can see, apparently a shipwreck that we're on our way to. For people who haven't really explored much in this way before, we've never really used national parks much, I'm really impressed at how much there is to see and do that's very low, if any, cost at all. And particularly if you're camping here, it's right on your doorstep and you've got a whole day's entertainment and exploring and just enjoying nature for a very low cost.
$10.
$10 entry and $15 per night for camping. So we're $55 for 3 nights here, and that's all we'll spend.
Out to the lighthouse here, and the scenery is just stunning. It's beautiful white gypsum floors, which is where they used to mine here, and the sand and the blues and turquoise waters just look amazing.
We're just coming through the Ennis National Park and stunning views here around the peninsula. And off to our left, we can see Kangaroo Island in the distance. Wow, down there on the beach is the Ethel or Ethel, I'm not sure how you pronounce it, shipwreck. That's the anchor up the top there as well.
This ship, when it was shipwrecked, just offshore, and it's been pushed onto the shore now to where it lies today. But it was stuck out there, and a 19-year-old volunteered to run a line to shore to be able to bring the ship into shore to pull it in. With massive storms, he ended up being swept away and was drowned at sea. And every other survivor, the very next day, tides went out, it became calm, and they just walked into shore. So he died unnecessarily. Everyone else survived.
It was a super day out. There are so many shipwrecks along the shore. We learnt heaps about them. There was stacks of information in the area about the ships.
Yeah, the boys learned a lot, and probably the biggest thing they took away was not to ever board a ship. Too many wrecks. But the next day, it was actually quite a calm day. So if you'd watched our Adelaide video about what we got up to in Adelaide, we hit up a BCF and bought up a bunch of fishing gear. And so we were really keen to go out in the Stenhouse Bay jetty for a bit of fishing to see if we can catch some squid. Coming up to the overlooking over the jetty, so there's car parks here, so you can drive up. We've just walked up from our campsite.
Those are off for the first fish with their rods.
With our gear, let's see how we go.
See you guys, good luck. It's mummy time.
We're down on the end of the pier here. It's a much nicer day than yesterday, and so we're trying our luck for squid using some squid jigs off the end of the pier here at Stenhouse Bay. Okay, I'm just going to show the boys how to fish for squid. We've upgraded to rods as opposed to our reels. So boys, what you do is, look, we've got our rod like this. We hold our finger across here and then we open the bail. By holding our finger there, it stops this going and falling straight down, okay? Which will happen. Okay, so what we need to do is when we release the bail here, we hold on to that line, okay? And then when it's time to put it out there, we just go like that. Just like that. Close the bail, let it sink for a little bit, and look what I'm doing with the reel. Look. I'm gonna let it sink, see? It needs to sink more. See? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I pull it over. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Here we go, Dad's got one. Here it comes. Looks like it's already dead. Looks like it's already dead. Oh, careful, don't aim it at me.
Okay, Al can do this one, I'll get the next one. Al, you want to crazy top of this here, nice and hard. Go. No, higher, up here.
One more try. Alright, Al, you have a turn. Harry, you have a turn. Harry, try to chop it right there. Quick. Hard as you can.
Not me. My turn? See?
Like that, see? Bucket, please.
Easy as pie.
Bucket.
We use wiki camps to plan our stays. You might have seen a previous video that we've made about wiki camps. It's great to find some awesome places to stay. We'd stayed at some peak, or during the peak period, that it's a really big parks, so we wanted to balance our budget this month. We found a really great RV park in Moonta and we headed there for a couple of nights. It was a 48-hour park, so we had 2 nights stay there.
We're all set up here in Moonta, and this is a free camp. It is our first free camp, and there's this entire area. There's water at the top. There's a couple other caravans here as well. There's water at the top. When we put in, there was only one other caravan. A couple more arrived since then, and we're set up. It's a 48-hour camp. It is nice and flat. As I said, there's water. There's plenty to do in and around Moonta, and we're good to go for a couple of days. We've got our solar working in overdrive at the moment, pumping up those batteries. We mentioned we added a red arc solar panel to the roof of the Land Cruiser in our Land Cruiser demonstration video. What we can actually do is plug that straight into the caravan as well to give us an extra boost when needed.
Once we arrived and set up shop, it was a really hot day, so we decided to head to the waterfront for a bit of swimming to cool down.
We're here at Moonta and the tide's out, but we can see out here the beautiful water. So we're going to go for a bit of a swim today, and then we're going to have a fish on this jetty tomorrow. We've just been to check all our fishing gear, so we're good to go tomorrow. Let's go have a paddle. And if you've got his Fitbit.
Water here is beautiful. Let's have a nice little paddle in it. It's gorgeous.
Here we go, down the jetty to the swimming enclosure. This is going to be awesome. Check this out. So we're in the swimming enclosure, and there's even a sheltered from the wind and the sun protected area. So we've been able to put our stuff here and go out swimming. So Steph and Jed and Alex have gone snorkeling. They're out on one of the piers. Having a lot of fun out there. Here come our intrepid explorers. They have ventured to where no man, except everyone that swims inside the fishing enclosure, have gone before.
I saw a large blue swimmer crab about this big roughly, and it was tearing at a piece of fish, which it had obviously caught and torn in half.
Why don't you hang around and watch it?
Well, look at the name, Blue Swimmer Crab.
So you worried it was after you next?
It was, like, really, its claws were like that big each.
So you were getting out of there?
Yeah.
It's been fun swimming here.
That was awesome.
You enjoyed it, Steph?
Cool out there, yeah. Cool looking at the seaweed, go for a bit of snorkel, sitting on the platform and hanging out, hey Al? It's pretty cool.
That was a really great spot. It was a lot of fun that day swimming in the crystal clear warm waters. But with the blue swimmer crab spotted, their fishing gear on hand, we said let's get out there, let's go try to catch some crabs, try to catch some squid. So we headed back to the jetty the next day to see and try our luck.
We just got a blue swimmer
Our
crab.
first blue swimmer crab, we just bought a net, we put it out, it looks a little little, we're about to measure him up, comparing to the iPhone, to the phone I've got, and see if he's the right size. We need to buy a measuring stick. Grab the other one. Move fast, don't go slow because we'll see you. Alright, Jed has got his swimmer crab.
This one's too small, we're sending him back.
He's in the bag. Our second squid for the day. That might have been the one you saw, boys. Bring him over, Jed. Bring him over now. Bring him over, Jed. Bring him over before he falls off. Alright, Jed has got his next one. Okay. Alright, so we've got a blue swimmer crab here, and we're just checking his size to see if we can keep him. So we're going to go from edge to edge to make sure that we can keep this little guy. And he's bigger than 11 centimetres. Yep, we can keep that one.
Yes.
Yep, good. So here he is, blue swimmer crab, and he's just over 11.5 centimetres. So we're going to keep this one and put him in the pot tonight, our first crab with our crab net. So that's pretty cool. Pretty excited, the boys are super pumped. We can keep him. Yeah.
The boys have had an afternoon of fishing and they're continuing their crab hunting expedition. Apparently there's a few around in the rocks here, so they've just gone for a little look. They have been successful with some crabs in a net. A little bit further out on the jetty. Just looking to add to the dinner supplies. A bit more of a feed.
That was our most successful fishing trip to date. We ended up with 2 squid, 2 crabs, and we headed back to camp to cook them up and celebrate our success as newfound fishermen.
Tonight I get to taste crab for the first time.
Wow.
What you up to, Has?
Just cooking some calamari rings.
Okay, so how do you do calamari?
So you have some pepper in. I already did that. You put some salt in. And you put a sprinkle of flour in, and you can see I just did that too.
Yeah, and then what do you do?
Then you mix it up with your fork.
Okay, until it sort of gets battery.
Yeah.
And then what do we do with it?
Then you cook it.
Perfect, good job, buddy. Okay, we've got our blue swimmer crabs here. We're about done, and we're going to put them in some cold water. You can see it's boiling in there. When you take them out, they're going to continue to cook because under the shell there'll be boiling water as well. So you put it into some cold water to cool them down for about 10 minutes and then they're good to go.
They literally fought over every last piece of those crabs.
We're currently going through the scraps trying to find all the meat. It's meat.
You found some, Has?
Yep. Got some.
Boys are pretty happy.
And that is, with the sauce, it's so good.
Good crab?
The boys have been trying so hard with their fishing. They loved what they caught, but there just wasn't a huge amount coming out in terms of quantity. I had a little surprise for them all, actually for the whole family. There was a little bit of pain involved first, but off we went.
Well worth it.
It's very morning. It's very early morning. We are up early to go and do a fishing charter today. Harry was excited but conflicted because he was a bit too tired to be getting up as well.
We're down here at the Port Hughes boat ramp, and we found a nice car park. Boat ramps are pretty good for car parks, caravans, and we're going off fishing, and hopefully it'll be a good day's fishing. We're going on the boat. Your first catch. Well done, mate. He's just popped his line in. Is that a little snapper?
That's a little snapper.
Harry's got his first fish here. Is it heavy, Harry?
Yeah.
And he's got a double, has he?
He's got a double.
You got the double,
Has
Has.
he?
You got double, Has.
No, look. Yeah.
Fish, did you see him?
I have a look. I have a look at them.
Wow.
Right.
Look at that. In the river.
Hold
He's a
it.
bit sharp.
Careful,
mate.
mate, don't grab him when he's
Yeah, he's got very, very sharp points on him.
We've caught a bunch of baby snapper so far. How much have we caught, Has?
A couple.
About 6 or so.
Yeah.
And no whiting yet. We're looking for whiting first up, so we're moving on to a different location to see if we can find some whiting. So everyone's holding onto their rods.
Yep. Hold in the rods, hold in the kids.
I just looked out looking for fish and I just saw them.
We had a really fun day out. There was a little bit of seasickness involved, so a little bit of pain there as well. Bit of burling the waters. But by the time we finished fishing, we caught a couple of whiting, lots of baby snapper, which we had to release. We were still keen to stock up a feed, and with the boys' newfound crabbing skills, they asked Barry if
Barry
we could...
was super. He
Barry
was
was, and they asked Barry, hey, can we do some crabbing? And he said, let me get my pots, and out we went for some crabs.
Oh, crabs. It's a
So,
blue swimmer crab.
We've been out fishing out in the deep, about 25 k's, is it, Barry?
Yes.
25 k's offshore, in an undisclosed location, and we caught a couple of King George whiting, and now we've come into the bay, and the boys are super keen to try some crab nets. So Harry's giving instructions to the fishing charter operator on how to catch crabs with his 1 day of experience and a couple of YouTube videos. He's been able to help Barry. Boys.
And our second crab is a boy. It's a boy.
Congratulations, boy.
The second boy. Oh,
How many have we caught, Harry, so far?
2 is our second.
Boys.
2 crabs in 1 net.
Double.
This is 8 crabs.
8 crabs. That means 2 crabs each for dinner.
2 crabs
Good job,
in.
mate.
Measure.
Yeah, that was a good
You
one.
can have him.
Well done, man.
I know. He's on the ice. Nice, baby. Oh, yeah.
fish on there, Steph. You have. You got a crab.
That one ended up getting away, but in the end we had 28 crabs and 2 really big whiting, which was just awesome.
Harry absolutely loved the whole experience. He was fascinated by everything that was happening. Even though we had to throw some of the little ones back, they just enjoyed the whole experience.
So we headed back to camp for a cook-up.
Carrying our King George whiting here, so scraping off the scales, get them all off the body. How many of you lost doing that? None. I nearly lost the squid. None yet. It's had a haircut. It's all good. It's ended up pretty good, this whiting, so I think we've got our batter down, so been working on it. It's come up fantastic.
Thanks to Port Hughes Fishing Charters for having us along for the half-day tour. We had a super time. That's not all there is to do in Moonta though.
We're pretty fished out.
Moonta has a great copper mining history, and there's heaps to see there to learn all about what used to happen in the copper mines in Moonta. This is the Moonta mines area, the historic area where the mines used to be, the copper mines. So they give you a little map and you can go on a self-guided tour to see around. And there's some more information in a different brochure, so it's well worth visiting the visitor centre, and they'll give you lots of information and you can come and have a look around for yourself.
Dad, the lever's not locked.
Wow, so what happens when you pull the lever?
The tracks change.
They do, so that's how they change. It is well oiled. So that's how they change direction of the tracks. Yeah, don't play with it too much though. Doing the tour around the Moonta mines in a greater area, and the train and museum are closed this afternoon. We've come when it's a bit cooler, but there is a heap of stuff to see. A lot of old mining equipment in really good condition. They've preserved it and painted it really, really well. So we're enjoying having a look at all the different machinery that we use here in the Moonta mines on the Copper Coast.
Moonta has done a fantastic job in preserving that mining history from all the way back to the 1800s.
And making it accessible for kids as well.
Absolutely, so you can literally go up and try out the machines to see how they work.
Harry's enjoying learning about the train tracks. So there's this train that runs on Wednesdays as well as weekends. So every time you run into Moonta, you can go and use this train and come down to the museum and check out the history. There's a lot of history here with Cornish settlers and copper mining. It was really, really big for a long period of time, and when it all wound down, they decided to preserve it and keep all of that history. So this is the Moonta Mines Reservoir. So I used to keep all the water used in the mining operations. So this used to be a giant swimming pool, which is pretty cool. You can see the dimensions here. So Moonta Mines Reservoir, it's quite large. 20,000 hogsheads. I've never even heard of a hogshead. A hogshead is approximately 60 gallons or 240 litres. So that's about what we've got in the caravan. So we've got a hogshead worth of water in the caravan. So that is my new expression. We're carrying a hogshead of water in the caravan when we stop and fill up.
This window, look at it.
What's there?
A horse-drawn tram.
Horse-drawn tram. Oh, there is two. Moonta Bay. So like the one we saw at Victor Harbour, they have one here at Moonta Bay as well. Wow, that's pretty cool. More mining equipment. There's heaps of stuff around. There's just, and it's so accessible. Some places you go to, you don't get to really have a look at it. Here, you get to touch and feel it and see how it actually works, which is, that's really cool. The boys are loving this. These buildings are all in really good condition considering their age. We're talking about the 1800s, and they're all in amazing condition. This one here is 1865, and check out the size of it and how good a nick it's in.
So Hughes Engine House and the other engine houses were there to pump water out of the mines. So when the miners were building the mines, they filled up with water, which was obviously very dangerous and prevented them from mining. So the engine houses were used to pump literally thousands and thousands and thousands of litres of water out regularly to keep the mines dry.
Yorke Peninsula, and I think we can call it Yorks now. I think we can be a local
Been there
and
for long
say,
enough.
yeah, we're the Yorks. Was absolutely stunning. A lot of fun, so much to do. We just had a great time all around, and we're really looking forward to seeing more of the South Australian coast as we start to move around to the Eyre Peninsula.
But we've got something special to do on the way, so check back in next week because we're heading somewhere pretty awesome.
Cooler weather, we can try something pretty cool.